Good evening, everybody. This is Rickey Hampton, and welcome to You Get What You Get. I'm here with my great friends, Tree McDougal and Tim Turner, coming to you on a Wednesday evening edition of You Get What You Get. Hope everybody had a great hump day. We're headed down the home stretch into the weekend. And of course, as always, it is so good to see you, Tree and Tim. What's going on, guys?
Man, there's too much going on.
Great seeing you guys.
Well, that is always the case. And of course, you guys are down in the Atlanta. We just lost Tree.
Mhm.
Tree got so excited that she jumped off there. She's so excited to see us that she
It's
jumped
just too much. Oh man,
it's a lot going on, Tim.
oh yes,
And
there is. I mean, this is a big week. It was, all the women's basketball championships, college basketball championships are last weekend, so they get like a breather week before they find out Sunday what their seeds are going to be, and they'll find out on, I guess, the same day as the men, because this is championship week throughout men's basketball. So college, it's March Madness will start a week from tomorrow. Well, for the other teams, of course, the SWAC and the MEAC, it'll start on Tuesday. Because
the annual playing game.
the annual playing game, the SWAC and the MEAC always find themselves in Dayton, Ohio. So,
Yeah.
so
And
you can count on that.
I always think of was it Coach Fane Mitchell of Mississippi Valley State? They pulled that big upset.
That was a Lafayette Stribling.
Was it Stribling?
Yeah.
Well, was it 20 years ago when they?
It was about then too. I covered the SWAC championship, and they had it in Jackson every year. Covered the SWAC championship, and Prairie View ended up playing with they played Valley in the championship game. The deal was Prairie View was the 8th seed, right? And they knocked off Southern game 1. Prairie View players and coaches did not pack clothes but for one day. They were there for 4 days.
What team was that?
Pardon me?
What team was that? That only
This is Prairie View.
packed?
They only packed for one day because they pretty much figured we're the 8th seed, we're playing Southern, they're gonna take us out. Lo and behold, they knocked off the number 1 seed. They made it to the championship game, and their record was something like 3-27.
Wow.
So the SWAC, for the league itself was hoping that Valley would win because they could not go up there and have a team with 3 wins make the NCAA tournament. It was just really bizarre. But those are the type of things that are going to happen this week with all the men's tournaments. Like we said, the women's tournaments were last week. The men's tournaments are this week. It's a lot of stuff that's coming up. We got like maybe the last full week of spring training in baseball. You had all the today was the first day of the calendar year for the NFL. And the 2 days leading up to this was legalized tampering. So everybody talked about these new contracts, but they couldn't sign them until today. So a lot of people have been moving around. They got a lot of new people around. So it's fun times.
Tree, legalized tampering, Tree. I heard Donald Trump call the NFL and said, how do you do that? How do you do that? I can tamper legally? Oh, teach me that move.
That's true.
I got to mess up March Madness for me. It's my favorite time of year. I got to bring that.
Yeah. So next week, everybody be busting out those brackets. Granted, I haven't seen hardly any basketball this year except for women's basketball because it's been far more interesting. The ladies there stay for their 3 and 4 years, as opposed to, they're not going to jump to the WNBA after a year, that kind of stuff. You get to know them and see them. Was it Caitlin Collins? She was great throughout. You got Angel Reese, still great throughout. People like stars like that. South Carolina's players, great throughout. So
The kid out at Southern Cal, Juju,
Juju, freshman
Mhm.
year, I mean, you just watched her just blossom and just be a
50-point
star.
game. Yeah, that is a great point, man. The ladies are taking over, and of course we're gonna get into that. Last weekend had a titanic showdown in the SEC championship game between uh, LSU and rival South Carolina, and things got a little tense. And I think I got some highlights of what happened there. Just a little skirmish.
That's what
As you'll see, it became a family affair, as you could see.
People
yes.
jumping over the stands. I heard he got off of the track scholarship for, for hurdles.
Well,
He did.
yeah,
Wow.
that's wild. Because the dude did. I mean, my brother did get arrested for assault or something because he jumped over. He jumped on somebody's shoulder to catapult over to the thing. I believe is how it was termed. Some lady got injured that he stepped over to get onto the court. So
Yeah, I believe this video is courtesy of ESPN too, by the way.
mm,
But a couple of things about this game is that and that's not the basketball game. A couple of things about this game, it was a very physical game tree throughout, and these are just two great teams. And I think it was the last 15 minutes of the game, not a single foul was called.
oh yeah,
And
Multi
some
said I
people
think
were thinking
three
if they
fouls
just
were
let
called.
them get, yeah. How many was it, Tim?
He said 3 fouls were called like in the second half or something to that effect. That they were no,
Yeah,
and she was intimating how rough South Carolina plays, and her people were being fouled, and there were no foul calls. Mulkey just totally mishandled everything about Sunday. So enough of her. I haven't
yeah,
been
yeah. I
I
got
haven't been
that
a favorite
video
of
if
hers.
you
She
guys want
pretty
to hear
much
it.
went silent on Brittany Griner when she was in jail over there in Russia. So anything, all bad things that could happen for LSU and her, I'm all with.
But I
Yeah,
did like, Coach Daly, apologized, and that was the right thing to do. It was, I think I texted you, Tim. I'm like, are you watching this? It was like, what is
Oh
happening? But it was unfortunate. Yeah, I
yeah.
was wondering how it would play out at the end after, waiting for the officials to make their decision. And you knew somebody was going to get kicked out. I figured it was going to be Cardosa for sure.
It,
Uh,
it,
well, there are going to be some suspensions handed down for sure.
well, but it doesn't make a difference. They're also everybody pretty much gets a 1 game suspension. They're going to be suspended for the first round of the NCAA tournament. South Carolina is going to be the #1 seed. Who are they going to play?
Somebody out of the SWAC,
Whack or MEAC? It's
right?
not
Somebody
going to
out of
be
the
that
SWAC.
1 game suspension means nothing because they
Yeah,
can, they're
the
going
thing
to
I
beat
hate,
them with
but to Tree's point, I
the thing,
agree. It's unfortunate. Yeah, go ahead, Tree.
I was just going to say, and it was, I was so happy because Cardosa had made that shot at 3-point first in her career at the previous game. And then they had flown in her family. And I was just like, it's so disappointing. And it's Women's History Month. So, I mean, if you're making history, that's not what I'm thinking about as far as, the fight between women in basketball. But as Coach Daly said, that, the emotions, they talk about it all the time, get your emotions in check. But then at the end, still just kind of got
it
away
takes
from it.
over.
So,
Absolutely, because you can see the coaches trying to hold people back, but it's like, and they knew better. Once you step 1 foot on the floor, you're done.
mm,
You're,
Right,
you
right.
know,
That's why you got to have. That's on your get back coach too, because they got get back coaches for basketball too,
yeah.
mm.
They
and
have them on the sideline for
that's the
football.
person responsible for keeping everybody on the bench. But to your point, I do want to play some of what Mulkey said after the game.
We're in a good spot. Angel is right. We're playing some pretty good basketball right now, and that's just the God's truth. They got a lot of depth. One kid basically hurt us today, and that was full volley. You look at the stats. How can you not leave here and go, God, I wish that the playoffs started next week? But we'll have everybody back. Everybody's good to go. So the NCAA, you don't need to call me and ask if Michaela Williams is good. You don't need to ask me if any are playing our best basketball. Congratulations to South Carolina. They made plays when we would cut the lead.
That is not how that ended up. I don't want to belabor the point there. So she was not that kind-hearted as that interview went on.
No.
And it would be misleading to continue to play that clip. So I must have called off the wrong one, because she's talking about I wish she'd have pushed Angel Reese, my big girl. I mean, I thought she showed no class.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was something like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's like, a big girl, 6'7", 6'8", what she said, pushing on a little girl. When she pushed Angel Reese, and she said, really, they should have just let the two girls who initiated it in the fight go at it. Which is essentially what she's saying is, if there's gonna be a fight, just let those two fight, as opposed to let's not have a fight and have cooler heads prevail. Because I think it was all started as a misunderstanding, number one, where I guess the LSU girl thought that she was being jawed at, while the South Carolina girls were just happy that they got the foul on the intentional foul, and they were wrapping the game up. And then it escalated. And I don't blame Reese for the whoever the person was for being upset, because she did look like she was yelling at her, but the other teammate was right there next to her. And then when she said something back, that's when things went a little bit sideways. It's unfortunate.
It was unfortunate. A very emotional game. But I love your point earlier, Tim, and I hadn't thought about that, man. The women's game, it is they play more intense, it seems. They play a more physical brand, which I've always liked the physical play of basketball. They still keep a lot of that in it. And you have really high-level players sticking around much longer than they do on the men's side. So we're going to see some great games as we go forward in the tournament.
Now, I don't know if it was the Big Ten or the SEC, but I think it was the Big Ten women's tournament was completely sold out. And when's the last time you heard something like that happening for women's basketball beyond, the finals and the Final Four aspect of things? But there's a impact.
They used to cover the upper. They used to cover the upper levels,
right,
of the thing. So it would be impossible to go up there and sit, because we're going to just cover this up, so it doesn't look so bad. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tree.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say that, Tim asked, when was the last time you'd seen that? But, I didn't follow women's basketball. I always followed men's basketball. And I think now that I know players' names, or, got people who kind of, well, not just, they are, with the NILs and promoting themselves on social media, you have more opportunity to see who the players are, where you didn't before. So I think it just also to generate a lot of more interest, perhaps. And they're just really good players too.
It is. Absolutely.
Yeah, and you had the young lady Caitlin Clark decided she's going to go pro when she could have easily just stayed at Iowa and made more money than what she could possibly make in terms of just earning power through her NIL deal at Iowa. But she is going to enter the WNBA next year.
But I think she'll still make money. She'll still have advertisers, wouldn't you think?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think she'll be okay.
Yeah, you're probably right, but I still think she probably would have made a lot more on the college level. But and that means that, I mean, the whole system is broken, and it's so much to the point where whatever your friend is, Ricky, who was touting the NIL deal, who used to be on the show,
Robert T. Green.
yeah, he predicted that this would happen, but and to this extent, NCAA is always the last to know. They're the ones surprised by Christmas, always, in every aspect of life, because there's been no regulation. You got individual states trying to regulate NIL stuff. It's the Wild Wild West. And he said it back then that all these coaches are going to start quitting, and they are, because they no longer have the hammer. And it's like I heard a story this morning where Nick Saban was talking to Congress about NIL. And what the story is that his wife, Miss Debbie, she's affectionately called, has all the recruits and their families over at the house for a brunch on Sundays, just doing the recruiting thing. But this last time that they had a bunch of people over the house, all they talked about, the parents and the kids, were, how much money is my kid going to get? They weren't talking about education to Alabama or playing time. They talked about money. And these are freshmen coming in who have not played one down and have not done anything in that uniform. And so then she said to him, and she said, why are we still doing this? And that had a part in why he quit. He quit the football. You had Chip Kelly taking a job as an assistant.
Yeah.
You have Jay Wright quit, and that team won 2 of the last 3 national basketball championships. These guys, and Jim Harbaugh, he said, I got my championship. I'm going to the NFL. All these guys are getting out because they have to not only recruit these kids, they have to re-recruit them every year, plus recruit a new class, plus, kiss babies and shake hands with boosters. It's and that at the very last thing you have to do is coach.
Yes.
I'm down here. I'm down here in Nashville, and I was speaking with Penny Collins, who's the head coach at Tennessee State University, the men's coach at TSU, who happens to be a cousin of mine. We were at our uncle's funeral today, and we were talking afterwards, and he was talking about recruiting now, and he was saying, well, you have to re-recruit the kids you already recruited, the ones you want to stay. Then you go recruit the kids you're trying to get out of high school. Then you go recruit the kids that are in the transfer portal. So this is a yearly thing, where before you always just had that one thing to do. So now when you get them, you got to re-recruit them just to keep them there. Yeah. So it is tough sled, and especially guys on a level state or some of the mid majors and HBCUs who can't offer the amenities and the NIL deals they could get at larger schools. And did you see? And we didn't get a chance to talk about it last week. It actually went down last Monday. The Dartmouth basketball team voted 13 to form a union.
I saw that. Yeah.
The Dartmouth. Yeah. It says today is a big day for our team. Kate, we stuck together. He's a player on the team. We stuck together all season and won this election. Self-evident that we as students can be both campus workers and union members. Dartmouth seems to be stuck in the past. It is a time for the age of amateurism to end. But Tim, the University of Connecticut basketball team that voted to form a union, or the Purdue tree that voted to form a union, you would be an in the country. But this is only where we're going. As Robert T. said, told us years ago, this is where we're headed with all of this.
Mm-hmm. So what do you guys
Yeah,
think of unionizing? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that the fact that it's a nothing program, it's Ivy League.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, they probably will have the most access to Fortune 500 companies to do NIL deals, but nobody's going to Dartmouth to play basketball. I mean, you're going there to be. It's like going to Howard or Spelman or Morehouse, places like that, where you're going to school there to be leaders and doctors and that kind of stuff. That's athletics is nice, but it's not the primary thing. I think that's it for most for what Dartmouth is about. Like you say, if it is UConn, it's a big deal. Yeah, if it's Syracuse, if it's Kentucky, it's a big deal because you're talking about blue bloods of college basketball. If Duke does it, Katie barred the door.
But could it be the foreshadowing of what's to come? And then maybe not, because as you mentioned earlier, a lot of these kids don't stick around long enough to even care about that. It's like, bro, I'm here for this season, and I'm going to the draft. So,
well, see, there was a Rick Pitino.
That's another way to look at it.
I'm not a Pitino fan by any stretch of the imagination, but he coaches out at Iona in a mid-major conference, and what he was talking about, and said, that's probably right. Every great player in that league has been poached by programs by bigger programs. So all those folks in that league have to go in there and recruit new stars every year, where these other people just reload. It's like free agency every year. If they have the deep enough pockets are going to win, which is why Alabama always be up there, Georgia, Michigan, SC. These people like that, they're going to be up there. Colorado, and we haven't talked about Colorado and the effects on and off the field there. It's just the effect that those kind of programs are going to have. And it may be something that may be the killing off, unless there's really alumni interest of HBCUs, because you're not going to get those type of athletes because you won't have those type resources to make a big deal, unless they got to be creative to compete. It's just that simple.
Hey, but you mentioned Deion. How about the impact that he's had at Colorado? The football team, although they slumped throughout the year, was still vastly improved from last year. Sold out every game, but admissions went up.
Applications for admission were.
What was that tree?
Yeah.
What was that tree?
Say it again, Tree.
I'm sorry. Say what?
You mentioned applications.
I just heard that the admissions went up.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was about 20 or 30%. Yeah, they had like 60-something thousand applications, and I think like 50,000 of them are, I think they're going to offer to people, but people don't look at that. All I saw last week before this story was he kicked a couple of guys off the team. But that was the narrative that Deion is up there upsetting the apple cart. Yeah, he's doing it in a big way because the city's profited, the league's profited. I think the Big 12 is going to profit from him next year in a big way. So they should be happy to have that.
Yeah, the merchandise.
This is last year with Shador and the other kid. I can't think of his name now. Their last year probably. They'll probably opt out and go to the NFL, irrespective of what Colorado does. Hunter is the kid, yeah.
Hey guys, it says, according to this story from RJ Young and Fox Sports, the freshman class, the applications for Colorado's 2024 incoming class totals more than 68,000 prospective students, a school record, including a 50% increase in applications from Black students. I mean, he's earned his check right there.
True.
Oh yeah.
So
And they,
if he gets froggy enough and wants to leave and go to NFL, you can't. It's like, hey, I helped you guys out. I just didn't do it for, I left the mark here.
mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
think he'll go to the NFL one day, Tim?
I do, and it would be really interesting to see if he would go to someplace like Dallas.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, that's where he was for the longest. So to see him do, because Mike McCarthy should be looking over his shoulder. He don't have to worry about Dan Quinn anymore because he's in DC. As long as he was on the staff, that was kind of shaky. But he still has to look over his shoulder because these cats, I mean, they did nothing in free agency so far, and they lost players, and they're still playing in the same division. They're going to have the same schedule. They made the playoffs. They're going to have a tough schedule. So McCarthy's going to have his work cut out for him this year. And so anybody there could be vulture and waiting for that axe to fall there.
If Deion went to Dallas, okay, how you have all your news channels, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, you would have a Dallas Cowboys news channel. It would be 24/7.
Well, absolutely. It'd be like the Longhorn Network,
Yes.
one of those things. They'll just give him one of those. Yeah, but
I would hate that because I would hate to have to cheer against him for going to Dallas, man. Because I really like what he's doing. So let's keep it moving here. Speaking of the NFL, now we could talk about the presidential vice presidency thing. We'll get to that. The big news comes out of Atlanta where the Falcons, I think, hit it big by signing Kirk Cousins. And speaking of hitting it big, Kirk Cousins, he should go in the Hall of Fame for negotiating great contracts. He signed a 4-year, he's going to sign a 4-year, $180 million contract with the Falcons. And he is Tree a significant upgrade. I hate to say it, but he is, because I like Desmond Ridder. And he's just a big upgrade at the quarterback position for the Falcons headed into next season.
I saw a lot of comments that when Falcons are ready to have another losing season. Let's see I don't think everybody was. How about you, Tim? Are you on board with that?
No, this is going to be, and you heard it here first.
Okay.
And you'll probably only hear it here. Baltimore and Atlanta is the Super Bowl next year. Baltimore and Atlanta will win the Super Bowl. Will be in the Super Bowl next year. And the Falcons will win on a late play. That Kirk Cousins is going to engineer a late drive to win the championship.
Okay, then.
Will they be able to protect him? That's my question.
Well, they will. Their offense, I mean, they run block. Because they're great on that. And he doesn't. People are talking about his Achilles injury. He's been showing clips of himself. He is out there playing tennis, so he wants to let everybody know that he's good to go. Or so he say. But I wasn't aware that it was as huge a deal as it was, because when it happened, everybody, all the NFL teams, networks, I mean, the NFL networks, CNN, everybody just jumped on that, and that became the talking point, of course, until anything happens in New York is the greatest thing since sliced bread. So it became 19 layers of Saquon Barkley and what he's going to do in Philadelphia. So, but it was a big deal.
What did he average? 3 yards a carry last year? I mean,
he wasn't that big of a deal, and he stayed hurt.
Yeah.
And so,
but I'm looking at this for Cousins. That's his thing. He's very accurate throwing the football, man.
Very accurate. And another part of this deal was, the Falcons won 7 games last year. Cousins probably is worth 3 games. 10 games wins that division. 10 games gets them in the playoffs. Baby steps. And Raheem Morris said at the combine that he says, if this team had better quarterback play, I wouldn't be here right now.
Whoa.
Mm.
And that's just straight up saying that. So he knows what's up. If I'm Desmond Ritter hearing that, my feelings are hurt.
I'm packing my bags.
Yeah.
I'm calling.
You better have that. You better have the realtor on speed dial when the coach comes out of the combine and says, "Yeah, if we had better quarterback play last year," that he and Heineke both need to be like, yeah, we need to see what else is out there. So
has he tried to clean that up at all? Not to
no, I know it's the truth though, and everybody knows that. Everybody says it's like I saw somebody who I don't particularly think he knows everything or anything. Tony Kornheiser, he says the Falcons will be in the NFC Championship game next year.
Mm.
And that's not something I expected to hear from anybody beyond, Homer-y Falcon fans. But, but then there was also the other faction here who people wanted Justin Fields. He's a kid from Georgia, kid from Metro Atlanta, went to Georgia, got played wrong there. And,
Was that transfer?
Yeah, he transferred to Ohio State, took them to some heights.
Right.
So that's just he's a talent, but he hasn't shown he could do anything in the NFL.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like the Bears were thinking they were going to get a first-round pick and all that. That ain't happening. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes next season. But it's always fun. I tell you, the NFL. You talk about promoting your brand. The NFL does it perfectly. We had the Super Bowl in February, start of free agency, which is probably the most important time of the year, is in March, which is topped by April, which is the most important because you build your team through the draft. So every month they're coming at you with something.
Right.
And then they'll have
OTAs. They'll have after the draft.
Yep.
OTAs, and then you have the schedule released the next month.
Yeah.
Month after that, you'll find out what the favorite food is for each team, and then it's July, and it's back to camp.
And don't forget, and then they have in June. They have a month where some of these guys will get cut.
Right.
They'll make some final. So you'll have some more big names come on. So I mean, they got a system set up for sure, man.
It's the formula works. But you look at some of these names out there, it's like all the movement. Okay, we mentioned Derrick Henry, who was just a beast of a running back. At Tennessee, he was just terrific. He couldn't. None of the running backs could get the money they wanted with their team. So you got Henry leaving and going to Baltimore, which going to put them over the top. They had the top rushing offense last year without him. Now they have him. That's going to just free up the receivers because people are going to be worried about that big load coming at them every game. You got Barkley going to Philly, which is, my gosh, it was a 3-hour drive from Philly to New York. And that got the hatred that's between those two teams. And he's going to see his old team twice a year. Those games are already on the television schedule for next year. You can count on that. Tony Pollard leaves Dallas. Dallas loses their top running back. And he goes to Tennessee, where I think he's from Nashville or from Tennessee. I think that's his home, if I'm not mistaken. So he goes there. Joe Mixon gets traded from Cincinnati to Houston. Houston, that's all they really needed was a running back. They have a great young quarterback and receivers, so they're really good there. I mean, it's a lot of movement.
You got
go ahead.
a whole rundown. You got all the info.
I try, Tree.
There you go. Bravo, sir, bravo.
Yeah,
And Eckler goes from us the Chargers to the Commanders, and I don't know what that's about beyond money, because Washington's got not going to win anything for a while.
but I tell you, I'm down here in Nashville, and I've seen a lot of Henry jerseys on today. It's a sad day for a lot of tight fans because it seems like he was a fan favorite around here. His pictures on they got some murals on him of him. I've seen at least 2 around town. I guess somebody's gonna have to get the paint out in the next couple of days.
Yeah. Are they gonna put Will Levis up there, that new quarterback? Is he gonna be but you know what? You guys picked up a receiver. They picked up a receiver today. Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley, yeah.
Former Falcon, and he went to Jacksonville after serving a year suspension for gambling. And the Falcons were, if he had re-signed with the Jaguars by 4:00 today, the Falcons would have got a second-round pick. But as such, he didn't. Now the Falcons get a third-round pick from the Jaguars. That business is all tidied up there. But there's a lot of movement on the
and how about my man, famous Jameis Winston,
to
from
Cleveland.
New Orleans to Cleveland, another $8 million contract. That dude has made him some good money too, man.
He is. But you know what? It's about time somebody like him, like a brother like him, gets that kind of stuff. Because you see these other people like Andy Dalton, sticking around 12 years, playing for 19 teams, getting paid millions of dollars to hold a clipboard. You know what I'm saying? And Jameis is becoming that guy. He and Tyrod Taylor, because I think Tyrod Taylor just signed with the New York Jets as a backup quarterback to the presumptive, almost could have might be VP Aaron Rodgers.
Stop it.
I mean, God, let's hit that for a second. Trey, when you heard that, what went through your mind? Are you serious?
I believe it was a little bit like this. What the hell? And then I saw it. I don't want to know anymore. That's all I need to know. And wasn't it he talked to Kennedy talked to Rogers, and was there a wrestler or something?
Jesse Ventura.
Jesse Ventura.
Yeah.
Well, see, he was governor of Minnesota. At least he had a political career. So
Yeah.
I give him that.
I don't care.
Because athletes are throwing their hats into the ring everywhere. California, I think the top Republican candidate for governor is Steve Garvey.
No, for senator.
For Senator Steve Garvey, a former baseball player for the Dodgers and Padres out there.
Yeah.
So, it's a cult of personality.
Celebrity sports celebrity.
What's that now?
Yes, as we've seen how that played out.
Yes, when you get a celebrity up there, it doesn't work out very well.
We saw how that played out on a larger stage, right?
Yes.
Garvey's gonna get smoked out in California by Schiff.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, but Rogers, goodness gracious.
But I've not heard him say anything against it or saying it's crazy. Welcome back.
Dang, man.
You're welcoming me back. What? That's how I missed. What? Tim?
I said I haven't seen Rogers come out and say, you know what? If elected, I will not serve. He hasn't said anything like that. He doesn't say it's crazy. He's not playing along with it. He likes the attention, evidently.
He must be considering it. But I'm just like, I don't know. I can't talk. It makes me sad.
makes you sad because the state of politics in America makes you sad.
You were saying, I think before I dropped out, you were talking about the gravitating towards celebrity or something like that, and I said, how that larger stage. So I don't think that's
No, not at all. We don't need to go back to that.
Maybe that should run for something. I don't know.
I think some of these guys, like Rodgers, who was a great quarterback, There's no doubt about it.
Mhm.
But because you are a great quarterback doesn't make you all knowing in every other aspect of life.
Yeah.
I mean, dude.
He is different takes on things. I mean, I think he's a anti-vaxxer.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of some of the deal. That's like one of these wild card things.
That's what attracted him to RFK. Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, dude, come on, man.
It's sad. It really is. But my thing is, I just want to see him back out on the football field, and what can he do healthy? You know, that's his primary gig, doing football.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on with that. I mean, this whole free agency stuff this week, and football's top of mind. And then I think March 30th I think that's the start date. Spring football starts. Those merged USFL and AFL. The championship of both of those teams, champions of both of those leagues, will be playing in the first week. So you got spring football if you're so inclined. But for me, no, it is baseball season. the real games start, I think, the 20th. The Dodgers and Padres play in Korea. So the season's almost here. I'm not even thinking about that fake stuff.
But the rest of the league doesn't start until like a week or so later.
Yeah,
right?
the 29th, I think, is when the real that Thursday, I think, is when Wednesday, Thursday, the week following week is when the season really starts. But the other guys get a jump, just like a couple of years ago. I think the Dodgers and somebody played in Australia to start the season. So,
what are your thoughts on that?
don't do it.
You don't think baseball? Well, we know it's big in Japan. You don't think baseball can grow itself internationally, say the way basketball has?
I think it can, but it's like because the games can grow, but at the same time, you got to deal with. Okay, I'm a Braves fan, and I got to get up at 3 a.m. to watch my team play in Sydney or somewhere like that, or we're 5 hours behind in London, that kind of stuff. I mean, trying to keep up with that kind of stuff. I mean, every year when you send teams over there to play football in London, the games are on at 9 o'clock in the morning or whatever, and that's hours ahead of your normal routine 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock football games. So you're busting up all these habits. So that's
maybe
what's that, Tree?
things change. I said you just have to adjust. Back in my day, guy, we had
But the thing about football that helps them be able to do, it's a once a week event also, where baseball, but hey, you could go over there and play a 3-game set.
True.
Yeah.
It means 3 days of bleary-eyed people, 4 o'clock in the morning watching baseball.
I do it every year for the Open Championship in golf.
Oh, with the British Open, see that, but you could do that. Yeah. But that's like it's crazy though. I tell you what, the Olympics is when I do that because it was really strange for me to get up at 0:30 to watch curling because I like watching curling. In the Winter Olympics.
I love curling, man.
So to your point, you'll get up and watch. Love it.
Well, that's once every 4 years. That's once every 4 years.
Yeah. But I mean, all or whatever, you still get up and watch it if you love it, right?
True enough. True.
Or are you just gonna catch the highlights?
If it's my team, I'm watching it live. I want to watch it live. So yeah, okay. I don't go with the highlights.
Yeah.
I think people will adjust if that happens.
Yeah. I'm at this section here. I apologize. I am trying the best to get our little style report going. I am just having problems getting this stuff where we can show it to everybody. But it is really becoming a part of the whole thing now in the NFL, the NBA. Everybody's doing a little the walk-in.
WNBA, every
Yeah.
the
The
walk-in.
walk-in. And it's really cool to see what some of these guys are doing and some of the choices that are being made.
Choices?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to put it.
Like this cat. Let me see
Well,
if I
I
can.
think that I was looking at one and somebody was carrying a $12,000 bag, and I was like, they probably either being asked to carry to get some. I mean, they could be buying it, but they could just be helping to promote different designers. They're like the puppy shirt from Seinfeld. Wear this.
They don't want to be the pirate.
Now, Tree, you're by far the best dresser of this collective that we have here. Let me see if I can. I'm working on it.
Yes, it's we make some. I mean, money can buy you a lot of stuff.
Let's see. I have one that I would like to try to show. I can't get it to work.
That's okay. You know what? I do like the walk, and I do like seeing the different style choices. Yeah, so I saw something. It was a whole bunch of Kelsey different outfits. Or as they say now, just fits. We can't even say outfit, just fits. Just fits, Yeah. Our language is being truncated much.
NHL style. Let's see here.
Even shorter, but it is.
Okay, I might be able to get it here actually. Share screen. And here we go. Is this it? Is this it? Is this it? Nope, that's not it. That's it though,
That's
right?
okay. You guys have to do your own walk. You'll have to pick out an outfit and walk, and we can rate those.
Just come in your own creation next week, Rick, and just model for us.
I think I know what Rick's would be. Something with a kappa on it, maybe.
No, I'll probably just rock my.
Okay.
My union gear. Hey, speaking of lettering, did you see the thing with Kobe Bryant's statue?
Yeah.
How you screw that up?
I'm sorry, what happened?
Kobe Bryant, the statue that they unveiled of Kobe Bryant in front of the arena in Los Angeles has typos in it.
Get that.
How you screw that up?
Really,
So,
typos. What?
But there's typos in the box that are wrong, and there's some other errors there. So it's like, I don't understand how people could have gone through all the trouble of all of these things and then have mistakes in it.
Who's the proofreader on this thing?
Oh, I gotta look
they,
that
They
up.
misspelled a couple of names. Jose Calderon, the former point guard.
Right.
Von Wafer's first name was misspelled. Coach's decision was misspelled.
What?
Now
Oh.
Can you imagine Kobe's look? That look that he had if he was there and saw that.
It's probably who probably caught those errors and brought it to people's light.
I'm like, golly, man. That is
wow. I totally missed it. I remember I've been heads down. Totally missed that story. Typos? Oh man. Tim, you didn't even share that with me. You know how I hate typos.
Kobe one? The Kobe Bryant one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tim shared it today. I saw it. He said it to me anyway.
Oh,
Maybe he was just trying to clue you out, Tree.
No, I'm just saying, just look at that
Maybe he
NBA
did.
on the thing, and it's on there.
I
Yeah.
will.
Hey,
I
hey,
will.
we got a few more minutes here on the show tonight. Any final? What are you guys looking forward to other than winning your basketball pool for the NCAA's? Do you do many or any?
No, I don't do it at all because I don't watch enough of it to get up there to even play like I know what it is. I mean, it's over the team. What is
Yeah.
it? Somebody beat Gonzaga yesterday to win the conference. I don't even know who that is. Who they beat?
St. Mary's. It
Okay,
was St. Mary's.
Mount St. Mary's. Okay. Okay. So yeah.
But Tim, I know that because they're clearly the two best teams in that conference.
Are they the only two?
Every now and then, Pepperdine would have a good team, but it's usually Gonzaga and St. Mary's out there.
I am lost because I always have like Carolina in my top, and now I'm like, I don't even know if I would just be guessing if I was filling out a bracket or anything now.
Well, they're still going to be in the tournament. They're going to be, Duke's always going to be there too, just to, those type of things. What was it? I think a Duke player, the guy that got his ankle hurt last time, looked like they showed a video of him acting like he was getting up and he tripped a kid for Carolina. Yeah. And I was thinking,
really?
I saw him when they stormed the court when he hurt his ankle, he stuck his leg out and tried to trip somebody.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's
big 6'11" kid. Yeah.
Yeah, they need to keep an eye on this cat. People were feeling all sorry for him, but it looked like he tried to trip somebody then, and he looked like he was tripping a Carolina player where he stuck his leg out. So
I got one before we leave. Did any of you guys see the incident that occurred in Detroit early this week? Well, actually, it was late last week with Troy Weaver, the president of basketball for the Pistons, who were 10 and I think they're like maybe 11 and 52 now. They lost 28 straight games. Weaver's in the stands watching his team play. They're getting blown out. Dude says, "Hey, man, you suck at your job." So Weaver goes off and is like, "You lucky I don't." I think I got the video.
Yeah, I need to see. What?
Oh my goodness! Why do you even engage a fan? Why?
Exactly. I get. Look, bro, who wants to be called? Who wants to be called?
You suck in your job. Yeah.
The guard really don't want to do anything. So he agrees with the guy in the red wing.
Weaver said he threatened him, but it was Weaver that said, "You lucky I don't come over there and whoop your you know what."
Right.
But Tree,
did you see the reluctance of the security guard because he agrees with the Red Wing dude? He's like, "What you want me to do?" You do.
And they're like cameras. Always.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? Like
That's what the dude was looking at. He was like, and
but really, I get that, and fans can get out of hand, but he got to take that.
That's part of the job.
Lost 28 straight games.
That's part of the job.
Yeah,
you are not very good. Wear that.
And you, the one that assembled that product out there.
Yeah.
You got to take that one, man. Well, I don't see how he makes it through
It's a shame.
I'm sure he's going to be let go at the end of the season. So that was probably his last hurrah. But when you 11 and 52, man, you don't want to bring attention to yourself because all the stories the next day talked about how bad the Pistons were.
Right.
The 28 games they lost, 10-52, and you brought all that on yourself, man,
Yeah.
because of one dude.
Yeah.
So,
Probably didn't care. So I don't know.
huh?
I don't know what
Will
was
the
in his
coach
head,
survive?
but yeah, that
Because
was
he has not done any. I mean, they looked awful. Will the coach survive?
Yeah, the coach will survive. They just gave him $100 million, so
Okay.
yeah, he'll be
Mm.
there. He'll be there. But we see. I mean, just going when you think about, we kind of started the show talking about what occurred in at the SEC championship game, and we talked about the situation at that Duke game. I mean, just man, you just want to go to the game tree and enjoy yourself without damn. Of
Without
course, I say all this, and years ago, I was at the Indiana uh, Piston game when the uh,
The
Malice
ball.
at the Palace
mm.
went down, and I remember peeking back out on the floor, like I'm not going out there. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I'm like chairs coming everywhere, but we could do better than that for sure.
Yes.
We could, but we're not. But we could.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is true. That is true. Well, hey, we need to get out of here, guys. But we'll get back on our regular schedule next Tuesday evening here on You Get What You Get with my friends Tim Turner and Tree McDougal. But until then, I'm Rickey Hampton.
All right. Yes. Be kind, and everybody be kind.
Okay, Tim, Tree. Peace.